Good afternoon, everyone. The construction of my pen is ongoing. While I'm still working on the vegetation of the green farm. Hopefully, this rainy season, before by next month end, we hope that we'll have enough vegetation to start the proper snail farming here, while this pen will act as a control and nursery that will also include the incubation system. I just hope by the end of next month that this whole struggle will be over. Smiles will come at the end of the day. Thank you.
One thing you must take note of in this free range pen is how high the roof is. And I know a lot of persons would want to have a free range and an intensive system, which is the hybrid system, and this is exactly what it looks like. Some people might decide to keep it outside, some people might decide to keep it within the pen, but if you have space, of course, keep it within your pen, the enclosure. Notice how high the roof is, very high. That these are not necessarily dwarf plantains, so take note, they're not necessarily dwarf plantains, they are just normal plantains, but the roof is very, very high. And one thing it does is it allows heat to effectively, so the place doesn't get very hot. It doesn't get very hot. You see people that they will build free range, the thing is so close to the leaves, no, it's so close, but this one is very, very high. There's a decent amount of space between the floor and the roofing, and very importantly, I've seen people use green net. I think white net is the best. I've also seen people use black net. Please leave black net alone. Black net would make the vegetation not to grow. As a matter of fact, this is just the second free range farm. There's another one. Now, what happened here was the first time that this farm was being stocked, we said this is not good. This is not how it should be. The vegetation was very poor and the snails were stocked. So we told him, okay, see, you have to take out all the snails to another greenhouse. Why? Because he had black nets here and all the nets had to be replaced automatically. Every one of them had to be replaced. Now look at these pens. They are set in, you might be wondering, what is the thing inside? Remember what we do, our signature stuff in Agrocycle, mulching approach in Agrocycle. We place sticks inside the pen and we cover with plantain leaves to allow them or to enable them to hold more moisture. So just imagine in your mind that, remember when they sprinkle water here, everywhere will be humid, and inside that pen it is still warm. There is no clear reason why the babies will not hatch. I'm saying this for people who would be going this large scale farming. Allow the place to get densely cultivated. Allow it to get densely cultivated. You're not in a rush. You're not rushing to become the best or the fastest or anything. Allow it. Don't rush to anywhere. Somebody will say, free range, like this free range or coop pen, like some people call it, doesn't work. My dear, it works. It's just a lot of persons are in a hurry. You've not planted bitter leaf. There's no scent leaf. If you look at you see so many things that are growing. There's bitter leaf, there's scent leaf, there's moringa, there's garden egg, there's different types of things that are feeding. You're seeing cocoyam, you're seeing the plantains, the bananas, all of them. Guess what? They are most of them would still be eaten by the farmer. So these were a few of the snails that were left. They were laying this massive number of eggs. They were just laying. And if you notice something, the snails are very, very cautious to lay under plantain leaves. They will go there, they will lay under the plantain leaves, and the plantain leaves will cover the soil and make it almost impossible for it to get overheated. And that was the same thing we replicated in the intensive system. One of the disadvantages of this system is you don't even know how many eggs you're getting. Basically, you can't be accountable for your livestock. That's one of the disadvantages. You can't tell, okay, I have let's say I have 20,000 babies or 10,000 babies. You can't tell. Yes. No, you can't tell all those things. The thing is, once you get this system right, you will get a lot of babies. A time will come when you enter your pen, you'll be very careful so you don't step on babies, because they will literally be everywhere, especially at night. They are crawling to eat, they are moving from one side of the pen to the next side of the pen, and yes, you can't really account for it, but if everything is right, they will thrive very, very well in this system. Like I said, if everything is right. So by everything being right, your humidity level is perfect, the water you're pouring is okay, you're sprinkling water if possible morning and evening, and you have the right soil. Like you can see here, they have loamy soil. Now let's look closely. You will notice they went at night to look for snails. You will notice some snails that are moving around. Okay, he's picking babies. Those tiny babies that you're seeing there are the AF breed, and you see that bigger one there is what we call the AMO egg baby. So you had to put it back inside the pen. Now some people will say, oh, Mr. Rex, is it possible for me to be taking the babies to the pen? It is easier for you to hatch the babies here and take them to the free range instead of taking them from the free range and put them in the pen. It is not always the best for them. They tend to do well in the natural environment. My advice to anyone who cares to start this method is, please be prepared, know what you want. If you have resources, go for this system. Why? Because this one is initially starting out is more expensive. I think this structure cost about 5 to 7 million naira, or I think slightly more, 5 to 7 million naira. But once you have it, it will take you about 5 years to even fill up this entire pen, like 4 or 5 years to fill it up properly. Okay, that's if you allow the snails. I think it's talked about 2,000 snails. So imagine with 2,000 snails, it will take time. We are not going anywhere. It will take time before you eventually get all these snails. So look at how he's covering the soil, sprinkling soil on top to cover the eggs. Eventually, he will put plantain leaves on top. Then when they hatch, all the babies comes out. He sends them to the free range. So you can now account how many snails is he putting back into the. So he sees eggs, he takes them, he buries them. When they hatch, he takes them back to the free range. And give it 6 months from now, you will notice that there is an explosion, population explosion happening already. Anyways, if you're a fan of the intensive system, one of the biggest challenge will be getting it right. A lot of people think, oh, okay, snail farming, get it right first. When you get it right, your biggest challenge will be expansion, because you will need to expand. Snails are somehow they would literally eat themselves if the space is too small for them. They'll start feeding on themselves, start cannibalizing. So you'll be pushed to keep expanding your pen continuously. I just told them to please, the plantain leaves are very dry, wet it and put it in the pen, and that's exactly what they did. If you want to do exactly what has been done here, just send us a message. Agrocycle will be adding the number to the screen, so you can join the community of practicing farmers. First of all, you have to go through the training. The training costs just 30,000 naira. You go through the online training, followed by a physical training. Depending on the state where you are, you would likely be attached to a farmer. You have a consultant that would always work with you, and your snails are insured for the first 2 weeks. And what do I mean? If for some reason you get your snails and they start dying, and the death exceeds 20% of what you have, then it's not the fault of the farmer, it is the fault of the person that procured the snails for you. Why are they dying? If they really gave you good snails and put in effort into making sure that they were transported properly, they won't die. And just to put our foot down and show you that we've sent you good snails, we had the 2 weeks insured breeders clause, that we go the extra mile to make sure that your snails are insured within the first 2 weeks. They don't die, and even if they're dying, they're not dying too much. Okay, it doesn't exceed 20%, which is the standard. We step in and we make sure everything works for you. If you followed this video up to this point, please like, follow, subscribe, join us. Let's build this ecosystem and make it better. If you have more questions to ask me, I'll be more than excited to ask them. Leave it in the comment section. And you might just be wondering, why are they covering them? Remember what I talked about, that the snails like laying eggs on that dry leaves. Take for example the plantain leaves. We are simply trying to replicate that. So if you have a farm, you might consider doing the same. Okay, thank you so much. I look forward to getting responses and information. Look at that one. You see those snails? You see that one? That's a snail. Okay, look at that baby close to that bigger one. You see, from this size they will grow eventually to become this size. This is an amazing experience. I hope everyone gets the opportunity to farm snails and we're able to push this ecosystem to the very highest points. I'll see you guys in our next video. Until then, stay blessed and keep learning. Learn as much as you can. Be hungry for knowledge. Just be hungry for knowledge.